So let's talk about my top 20 favorite DC superheroes. I'm redoing this video because of an editing mistake that I made that excluded one of my favorite comic book heroes, and I just didn't notice, probably because I was tired. Oh, and first off, Happy New Year to everyone. When it comes down to my favorite heroes from both Marvel and DC, my list can fluctuate and change at any point. Sure, there are some characters that are solidified in their positions, but other characters can move up and down. Today, I'm going to be talking about my 20 favorite DC superheroes. Now, this is just talking about superheroes. So villains, like Baby Girl over here, will not be on this list. And anti-heroes or dubious heroes or villains turn good but are sometimes bad won't be on this list either. And let me just say, this list was incredibly hard to do. These are some of the runners-ups that I wanted to put on this list. I just didn't. I still love them to death, like deeply in love with them, but you got to pick your top 20. You got to pick your top 20. So, coming in at number 20 is Dr. Fate. Not only does Dr. Fate aesthetically look like a badass, but I really like the idea of Naboo. I think I like him as a character more than I like any of the hosts. But the constant struggle between him and unlimited power and the host trying to keep their humanity has always been a great plot point. Catwoman is without a doubt one of the most iconic female comic book characters of all time. On her own, she's a phenomenal character. However, with Batman as a supporting character, she's even better. The reason why I don't have her higher is because I do like her more as a supporting character than on her own. But either way, Selina, meow. Static, in my opinion, is the greatest teen superhero to not be associated as a sidekick or with a bigger superhero. From his backstory, his powers, and the overall storytelling that's been done with the character, he's just a joy to read, whether it's in the original run or the most recent rebooted run. There's a lot to like about Vixen. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But Vixen is another character that has a tremendous amount of potential with an amazing power set and a great backstory. I wish DC would do more with her because I truly love this character to death, and every time she shows up, it's always a joy to read. I fell in love with Swamp Thing during the New 52. I never really read him before that, but after reading Scott Snyder's run, and I was hooked. Went back and read all the old stuff and has been up to date and current with him. He is one of the greatest concepts to be made for comic books. Listen, I'd be the first to say that Hawkman's backstory and continuity is an absolute mess. But if you can get past it, you'll find out that the character is awesome. He's almost like Wolverine with wings, for lack of a better term. I love the look. I love the design. I love nth metal as a concept. The only reason why I don't have him higher is Hawkman is truly a character that shines only in his own individual comic. When he's not in his own individual comic, he's a jobber. But in his own title, he's the fucking man. Booster fucking Gold. I love Booster Gold. See, most heroes become a hero out of sense of justice, or maybe they were destined to become a hero, or maybe some tragedy pushed them into that role. But initially, with Booster, all he cared about was money, women, and power. And it made the character unique in that sense. Eventually, the character would grow and evolve and become the champion for protecting the time stream, becoming the greatest hero you never heard of. Booster Gold is so amazing because he's a developed character. He's grown and evolved over the years. Martian Manhunter, John Jones. I've read everything of this character, even all the way back to the initial golden pseudo-silver age era. He was right on the precipice of those two eras, but I've read everything John Jones. And unfortunately, like Hawkman, he works best on a team versus his own individual title, which is the opposite of Hawkman. You know, they kind of have the same problem, but in a different way. There has been one or two good runs of his individually, but when he's on a title with the Justice League or any other team, it's always much better. I would like to have him higher, but John Jones is never given the true respect he deserves. He's usually always a jobber. I love Mr. Terrific. I don't care if he calls himself the third smartest character in DC. He is indeed the smartest character, in my opinion. I love the T-spheres as a tool, and I think the backstory for him, taking tragedy and turning it into something, a fuel to become better, Mr. Terrific is badass. And the drip, he looks amazing. Just shy of the top 10 is Wally West. One of the most grown and developed characters in all of comics. Truly stepping outside of the shadow of his mentor. Who doesn't love Wally West? Well, actually, there's a lot of people out there that don't. They're Wally West haters. But Wally West is amazing. And the only reason why I don't have him higher is twofold. Number one is there's a Flash that I like more. So that's pretty evident. And number two is I always liked Wally best on the Titans or the new Teen Titans or the Teen Titans, whatever iteration of that team, rather than on his own. I think his individual comics are fine, but I do think that they're not as good as Barry's. And, maybe that's just my opinion. I always liked him more when he was interacting with Donna and Dick Grayson and Cyborg and everyone in between. On to the top 10. And first is Red Hood. One of the most compelling Robins, with his backstory, his tragedy, and his overall desires and goals. Always trying to appeal to Batman and be on his good side, but obviously having difference of opinion on how to do things. And the drip on Red Hood has always been good. This is my favorite costume he's worn. I love Red Hood. Cyborg. When I first got introduced to him during the new Teen Titans run, I instantly fell in love with the character. His personality, his backstory and origins, all those change, and the upgrades they've given him over the years, especially during the New 52 onwards. I don't need to take too long to explain to you how much I love Cyborg. If you know me, you know I love the character. Donna Troy is my comic book crush. I fell in love with this character the second I started reading her. Donna is truly one of the heart and souls of the DC universe, and although she, like Hawkman, has a complicated backstory and complicated continuity, Donna Troy is the best. For a character that has so much adversity with how he's been done dirty, Hawkman is an absolute badass. His lore, his mythos, his powers, which are getting upgraded now, Aquaman is the man. I love this character so much, and I think he doesn't get the credit he deserves. Barry Allen is without a doubt my favorite Flash. See, Barry is just a good person. He's a regular, schmegular, good person. Always trying to be hopeful and always trying to do the best with what he has available to him. And he's more relatable than I think a lot of other characters out there. Wonder Woman. If there was one character I could give a hug to, it would be Diana. Diana is just everything about her. Her stories, her thought process, what she represents. She is the greatest female superhero, period. Next is Hal Jordan, the greatest Green Lantern of them all. There's so many reasons why I like this character, but I think one of the biggest reasons is just how he portrays himself, how he solves problems. He doesn't go in there with a plan. He is the plan. He trusts his instincts like a fighter pilot. That's just a really cool concept for a hero. I love Hal. Nightwing is the heart and soul of DC Comics, and quite possibly one of the greatest comic book characters to ever be created. Just like Wally, he was able to step outside the shadow of his mentor, and whether it's being Robin, Nightwing, or Batman, I love Dick Grayson. Superman is a character that represents everything that I want to be. He represents everything I want in a hero. Absolute hope. Always trying to do what's best. Always trying to do what's right. I love this character so much, and I will defend him to the end of days. And finally, my favorite DC superhero is Batman. I could spend hours talking about Batman, on how much I love that he's a human who utilizes his body, will, wit to save the day time and time again, how he's incredibly super intellectual. He's the world's greatest fighter, world's greatest detective. His stories are always great. His backstory is great. Everything about him is great. Batman is not only my favorite DC character, he's my favorite comic book character and my favorite fictional character. I love Batman to death.